Okay, hey folks, and welcome to another review. I'm going to have to make this really quick. This is going to be the shortest review ever because in this conservatory right now it is just roasting. Absolutely, I am cooking alive. It must be way over 33, 34 degrees, which is pretty hot to be honest to try and do a review in. But I can't complain too much because we only get like 10 days of this a year or something, so. You may recall from a while ago that two really generous and patient lads from, well, not from down south, but from south of where I live, sent in a huge box that had a London S-Stock Underground train inside it and another locomotive. And that other locomotive was this little beast. This is the Adams Radial tank. This is absolutely beautiful and it's by Oxford Rail as well. Now in the past I've only ever looked at wagons and trucks and all sorts of accessories by the Oxford Diecast group. I've never actually looked at a locomotive. I don't think I have. If I have, you'll have to correct me, but I really don't think I have. So I am very looking forward to taking a look at this. So in doing my research for this locomotive, initially I found it quite difficult to actually find out stuff about it, but then all of a sudden I did a Google search and by typing in the correct words, suddenly tons of stuff came up. It doesn't help, for a start, that it's called the Class 415, but there are quite a few Class 415s in the world. This isn't the only one, and they're not all steam either, that's for sure. But if you go to Google and you type in radial tank, that should be all you need. You scroll down a little bit and you can see that there's a link there to Wikipedia. It takes you off to a big page where there's heaps of information on the background and history of this tiny little loco. So it really is the little loco with a big history. So basically, they were made in 1882, I'm so used to saying 1982, that's the year I was born, hence the name of the channel. But 1882, so 100 years before my birth, these locomotives were being formed, were being made, so that's really cool. And by 1885, they'd all pretty much been done and finished up. Now they were designed to be used in the suburban services, and they were really intensive, busy services, which is why we have the extra bogie at the back, which is why it's called the radial tank. But it's the whole radial axle bit that I found quite difficult to find any information on. For a start, I could find hardly any videos, and then the diagrams and web pages I found I didn't think were very helpful or very useful really. But as I understand it, this locomotive was based on a design that was much simpler. So it was a 440. Basically it became a 442, yes, that must be right. And basically that extra axle at the back was added to support the weight of the coal and the water, because this was such a busy and hard-working little loco that it needed extra coal and water. So they fitted an entire axle underneath all of that to support the weight, but to still allow the loco to negotiate really, tight curves, really tight curves, especially compared to what we're used to today. They made that rear axle radial, so it actually rotates ever so slightly, it actually moves, which, is kind of like, well, we basically get around that these days by having bogies, which is why a bogie is like a mini train within a train, because it's, well, a mini series of trains underneath a train. Basically, they rotate on behalf of the coach, or the wagon, or the DMU, or whatever. But this is from a day when that sort of design was not very common. And so they very cleverly made this rear axle rotate and turn on its own so that it could negotiate the tight bends. And I think that's how it works, as I understand it. If I'm wrong, please do correct me. I would love to do a video where I dive into that and really properly explore it. Maybe even visit the Bluebell Railway. So basically they worked for years and years, really hard, but they were soon replaced by much more efficient, much more reliable models. and so they were like sent all over the network to various different points where they did all sorts of different jobs, basically. But by 1923, when the Southern Railway Company was formed, apparently only 3 survived the cutting torch. So the axle right at the very back that could turn and negotiate tight curves, that was the reason they survived, because the Lyme Regis area, where the locomotive ran, had really, really tight curves, so it required this kind of loco, and I think that's quite interesting. The Bluebell Railway is where you need to go if you want to see one. There is a preserved Class 415 Adams Radial loco at the Bluebell Railway. I really recommend you go there anyway, not just because of the locos, but it is one of the most beautiful heritage lines I've ever been to, so I definitely recommend it. And what's really interesting about the one they have preserved at the Bluebell is that it's almost identical to as it was when it rolled off the production line, basically. It's very, very true to its original form. I think it had to have some modifications made to the chimney, but apart from that, the boiler essentially is the biggest thing about it. That's the original boiler, but ironically that's now the reason it's dead and it's not working anymore, because that boiler is knackered and needs a lot of work doing. But people do know about it. There's a whole group, there's a whole organisation that are determined to get that boiler sorted and to get it running again, because I don't think it's been in steam now for probably 30, 40, maybe even 50 years. It's quite a while. I think you have to go back into the 80s, maybe the 70s, when it was last in steam or something like that. I know it's quite a while ago. So it would be lovely to see it back in steam again. So that's a fair bit of history and information about the real thing. When it comes to the model, there's actually very little on the box, very little indeed. It's a beautiful box. It's very similar to Bachmann's packaging, and it's a case of slide off this sleeve, and then inside is a block of ice. I wish it was a block of ice. Just erase that from your memory. So there we have the actual loco itself. It really is beautiful. Don't worry, don't panic. I'm going to switch the camera around just in a moment, But this, you have to do all of this in order to find out information about it, because once you have done all that, at the bottom, just here, is the information sheet. And it is really, really good, actually. There's hints and tips and running ideas and stuff on the back, and then there's an entire huge section in the middle all about the accessories, how to even fit a DCC decoder if you wanted to. And then the front page is rammed, literally, I don't think they could fit any more text on if they tried, is rammed with information on this particular model. So there it is, there you go, the Class 415 Adams Radial locomotive. I'm very, very grateful to the 2 guys that have sent this in. I really am. It's absolutely a stunner. It is beautiful, and let me show you just how beautiful. Okay, so thank you for joining me around the other side of the camera. I've also remembered to flip the microphone around as well this time, so hopefully you can hear me okay. Now, we are quite in the sun here, aren't we? But I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. In fact, if anything, it should allow you to see the detail on this model really well, because it's black. It's jet black. It's blacker than a black hole. Let's just slip out this block of ice and take a closer look at it. Okay, so the sleeve is already off, but there would be a sleeve here. That's just over to the right. So, as I've said before in previous videos, carefully pull out this one end like that, grab the locomotive within, and then let the plastic fall away, basically take the plastic away. And there we have it. There is the Adams Radial Tank Locomotive by Oxford Rail. And wow. Bang! Ta-da! It's like the focus suddenly thought, oh my gosh! And just could not wait to focus it beautifully. I'll switch to manual if I have to, don't worry. But just look at this beauty. I mean, such a smart locomotive and so well done. There's absolutely nothing wrong at all with the Lake Crest BR logo there. It's absolutely perfect. You can even see the type, which is 1P. just above the running number 30582. So 1p means, you know, in terms of classification, it's pretty weak. It's not the most powerful locomotive out there. Definitely not a 9F, but it's more than good enough for the job. More than good enough. I think it had a tractive effort of over 16,000 pounds or something, which is pretty impressive. Okay, so coming on to detail. Oh, please focus, thank you. We've got a whistle right up there by the cab. We've got some pressure valves in the middle. Okay, and we're back. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This camera is obsessed with the floor. I think I should set up a home redecorating channel or something. Right. So there we go, as I've said, yes, you've got a whistle up on the top there, there's some safety valves in the middle, you can see the chimney here, the stack, which I think on the original Bluebell one has had some work done, maybe it's been restored to what it originally was. You can see down here the front bogie, so this is the 4, and then that's the 4, and then that's the 2. So 4, 4, 2. This one here is the fancy one, this is the one that moves. Ta-da! Just like that. Although I'm pretty sure that on the model in real life it may have rotated around the circle of an arc, basically, around the arc of a circle, I should say. So it would actually rotate. If you can imagine that's the axle, so if you can imagine that my finger is the axle, it wouldn't just go up and down, it would basically do that and rotate ever so slightly. As far as I could understand it, I've looked at lots and lots of diagrams, and it does seem that that's what it did. I could be completely wrong, and if I am, please do tell me, because I don't think it's very helpful. There's lots of information out there that says, oh yeah, it does this, but like nothing that explains how, and not even very much that explains why. So yeah, there's definitely a gap there that could be improved upon, I think. Detail wise though, I mean, just look at it. It is beautiful. You've got handrails down the side of the boiler here. I don't know if they're metal or plastic. I'm not going to snap one to find out. I don't think whoever sent it in would particularly be fond of that. There's some vacuum tubing up at the front here. I can't tell you whether it comes like that or if that's been added afterwards, but it is beautiful nevertheless. So here are your two main driving wheels. And then if we flip it round, there's even cab detail. Look inside there. You can see the regulator and everything. I mean, they have gone to town on this. A little thing in my head just popped up and said, has it got sprung buffers? Yes. It's got sprung buffers. Wow. Okay, what about the couplings? What kind of couplings has it got? Oh, look. They look like they're NEM. Yep, I would say. Yep, I've just popped my head around the camera to actually look at it properly, and yes, they're NEM couplings. So it's got NEM couplings, heaps and heaps of detail. You can see that the braking rodding has already been put in, which is really, really nice. Wow, honestly, guys and girls, this Loco is beautiful. I want one. I really do want one. Oh my gosh. Look at where the coal and the water goes. There's little windows, and there's actual little plastic windows here in the cab. They're actual windows. It's not just a gap. It's not just a hole. That is pretty impressive. The red is beautiful and smart and neat and accurate. There's oh look, the rivet counters can really indulge today. They can actually count literally how many rivets are holding the smoke box on. This is without a doubt one of the most beautiful steam locos I have ever held. I wish somebody would send me something rubbish and something awful, because I'm getting a bit fed up of using like the perfect scoreboard every time. This is just, oh, it's beautiful, and there's a load of weight to it as well. For such a little thing, it's really quite heavy. There's definitely not going to be any traction problems with this. Okay, you've heard me ramble on for long enough. It's time to put it on the rails and see how well she runs. Okay, so thank you for joining me at the test layout in the conservatory, as usual. It's still over 30 degrees, by the way, but hey, that's dedication. I'm going to get this review to you no matter if I melt in the process. Right. Okay, so just locating all of these wheels onto the track. There we go, 4, 4, 2. They're all on and looking good. Let's give it a bit of juice. Direction picked. Okay, let's now again, bear in mind this is DC. It's always a great test of a locomotive's motor and quality by how well it runs in DC mode. So let's see what happens. Actually, not very much. I think the wheels are a little bit dirty. Okay, I think the wheels do need a bit of a clean. Okay folks, I've actually come around to the other side of the locomotive, well, you know, to the back end, because basically the sun is so intense right now, the camera is struggling to pick up any detail on it at all. But it's my bad, and I was right, the Loco wheels were a little bit dirty. Look, I have proof. So here are a couple of cotton wool buds from cleaning the wheels, and as you can see, basically their ends are quite dirty, apart from this one, which just... I literally did not use this end, okay, before you start commenting, they weren't all dirty. But this end was used, and these two ends were used as well, and you can see that, yes, there's quite a bit of grime there. So it's my bad, the wheels did need a bit of a clean, but I was told that that was probably going to be required, and you have to bear in mind that she has sat for a very long time waiting to be run as well. So considering all those things considered, I think she did incredibly well. Let's give her a second chance. If I just zoom out a bit, but bear in mind, oops, wrong way, bear in mind that you're not going to see the Loco as well. It's just so sunny, honestly. Okay, I've given it a direction, let's give it a bit of juice. Oh, look at that. That's so smooth. Wow. Yep, that's beautiful. I've rolled it back and forwards a few times now. She is good to go. I have very carefully taken the underground stock off the track to allow this to just roll around. Then all of them will be carefully packaged away and sent back. Direction picked. Give it a bit of juice. So there's the underground stock, which is carefully just resting at the side. Absolutely beautiful. Here she comes. There's barely any power going through the rails right now. And just look how smoothly she's running. Gosh, she even crossed this section of track here. This section has been causing me loads of problems. It's really dirty and like not very good at conducting electricity. But she crossed it, no problem. Okay, I'm going to give it a little bit more juice. She is going perhaps a little bit too slowly. Still as smooth as a baby's bum, folks. Absolutely quality mechanism here. I'm very impressed with this Loco. Okay, bringing her in and slowing her down. I shan't stop her where I usually stop her though. Gosh, she's going really fast actually. Wow. Absolutely stunning. I'm pretty sure that this is my first experience with an Oxford rail locomotive. I'm pretty sure it is. You actually are more familiar with my videos than I am, so if I have already looked at one somewhere, then I'm sorry, I must have forgotten it, but I'm pretty sure that this is the first time, and I am blown away. The quality is incredible. I don't know how much this Loco costs, so I can't really comment on value for money, but all I can say, sorry, once I actually stopped the camera and microphone setup from snagging on the cables, all I can say is I want one. I really do want one. Not every time I do a review do I actually want the locomotive in the review, but yeah, I think I'm going to have to get one of these. It's just so beautifully done. The detail, the performance, the packaging, it even smells like a steam loco. Seriously, you can lift it upside down and just smell the running mechanism and the motor and stuff, and it just smells like a real steam loco. It's just incredible, absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Ashley and Joe, for sending this in. I'm going to be in tears to send it back. Hey peeps, I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to leave a comment, please give it a like, and if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.